yesterday, Senator Brian Lenney was in the Health and Welfare Committee, and he brought a bill that he brought last year, which I'll let you explain it, but it's very simple. It may sound a little bit complicated, but it's very simple. It's very simple. Let's watch Senator Lenney.
This does two what I consider pretty simple things. First thing it does is it tightens the rein on our public health districts by adding a layer of accountability to prevent the type of government overreach we saw during COVID. The second thing it does is it ensures that any health action taken is backed by solid science and truly necessary to discourage guesswork, knee-jerk reactions, or excessive measures being taken by our public health boards. These changes are vital to protect our freedoms while at the same time keeping us safe while it really counts. So with that, I would ask you to print RS 31856, and I'll stand for any questions you might have.
Thank you. Questions from the committee? Senator Wintrow.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Senator Lenney. Maybe my guess is that you're going to get this printed, so maybe I'll just preempt that and just say, hey, when you come back, the question marks I have is number one, have you worked with the health boards, the public health boards, and have you consulted with other folks to see what are the implications of just revising from a do all things required to what it means by state law? I haven't looked at all that. And the other thing was, quickly, since I'm just glancing at it, it says the board shall not engage in broad or arbitrary actions in the name of preventative health. So maybe when you come back, you'll have to define that, who decides on what's broad and how you define arbitrary and, those kind of big things. But
would you like to answer that, please?
Yeah. Madam Chair, Senator Wintrow, I think it'd probably be more appropriate to get into in the full hearing, but yeah, happy to address those things. But I guess for a quick comment, right now, the statute says our public health districts can do all things. All things means all things, and I think I don't think any government agency or bureaucracy should have that type of power. So what this is doing is just knocking them down a peg and adding what I believe is a layer of accountability. But I can get more into it if we give this a full hearing. So
yeah, very, very good, Senator Lenney, and again, a very bizarre question, I think, from Senator Wintrow. Not as bizarre as some of the other ones, but she's basically asking that she could ask the same question of the bill of the current law. The current law states, and we have. I'll walk you through this in a second, but before we share the document, the current law, just as Senator Lenney says all things. Districts can do all things required, right, for the protection of the public health, right? So that's already pretty broad. What does that mean? It could mean anything. It says all things required. What does that mean? So he's trying to say now, this bill is about defining it, right? This bill is about defining it. Okay, so let me show you how rewriting law works. Okay, so let's bring up this bill if we can. This is Senate Bill 1031 by the Health and Welfare Committee, and what this will do is it will amend the current code. Sometimes when lawmakers come in with a bill, they're adding a whole new section, right? But when you're just amending current law, this is what you have to do. You have to strike out the things that you want to strike out. And in this case, you can see there under subsection 2, yep, he's highlighting it right there, to do all things required. So what Senator Lenney wants to do is remove that line, to do all things required, and then add language to the bill that kind of specifies more about what he's trying to do here. And when you add language to a bill, you underline it, okay? So you strike out what you don't want, and then you underline what you do want. And then all of the remaining language stays the same, okay? Everything that's not struck out or not underlined is current language that would remain. So what he wants to do for the powers and duties of these health boards, these health district boards, is to take only actions specifically authorized by state law that are necessary and reasonable for the preservation and protection of the public health and preventative health, period. That's it. And then another new line is preventative health measures may be taken only in cases of a demonstrated immediate public health risk supported by scientific evidence. And then it concludes with, the board shall not engage in broad or arbitrary actions in the name of preventative health. Additionally, the board may, and then it goes into existing language, but still says it's subject to limitations described in this subsection. So when the language in there that Wintrow had a problem with, the board shall not engage in broad or arbitrary actions, it's basically saying they cannot just do all things, these broad and arbitrary actions. It has to be based in scientific evidence, and it must be subject to state law, right? So it still must be subject to state law. So this way you don't have these arbitrary and all-encompassing rules that come out from health districts that cities and counties and school boards and all these people adopt because they say, well, the health board said this, So this is very crucial. This is a very crucial change to the language in order to protect us. And so we applaud Senator Lenney for it. Very, very good. So that bill, that was just a print hearing. So that bill got printed. And hopefully it will come back for a full hearing in the Senate as it makes its way across the rotunda. Hopefully, we'll see this. This again, we mentioned this bill came up last year, and I don't think I think it got a hearing and maybe it was voted down. I don't know. I don't have all those stats with me, but nonetheless, it's back again. And that's the other thing. When people say, we heard yesterday a representative say, I'm tired of seeing these bills. Didn't we do this already? I mean, I've had people call me. I was talking to a parent about the whole flag business. I was talking to a parent yesterday and said, I thought we already had this bill. They already passed this law. They did it last year because I'm reading it here and it says it's effective in 2024. And I said, yeah, that bill never made it through. It didn't. It got stuck. It got stuck in the House. It got passed in the Senate and it got stuck in the House. And I'm sorry, but it's not law. We have to do it again. And she was like, what? Are you kidding me? She's like, well, what do I have to do? I told her, hey, they're voting it on it today or tomorrow morning. And so I gave her the number of and the emails for her district. And I'm sure she lit them up and hopefully shared it around. That's what you got to do, folks. That's why you got to watch this program. We'll try and keep you as up to speed as possible.